Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to the Inspired Muslim. If you've ever wondered how the Qur'an came to be, how it survived for over 1,400 years without a single change, and why it continues to inspire millions of hearts around the world today, then this video is for you. The Qur'an isn't just a book. It's the final revelation from Allah, a divine guidance sent to Prophet Muhammad. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. A light in the darkness and a blueprint for living a meaningful, faithful life. Its words were revealed gradually over 23 years in moments of joy, struggle, and even tragedy. It speaks to everyone, young or old, rich or poor, scholar or beginner, because its wisdom is timeless and universal. In today's video, we're going to journey back to that quiet night in the cave of Hira, where Angel Jibril first appeared to the Prophet. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, with the command, Iqra, recite. We'll follow the story through memorization by the companions, the careful compilation after the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, and the preservation under Caliph Uthman, R.A. And we'll see how, even today, the Qur'an continues to transform lives, guide decisions, and inspire hearts all over the world. So, if you've ever felt lost, confused, or just curious about this incredible book, get ready to experience the story of the Qur'an like never before. Open your hearts, pay close attention, and let's dive into this miraculous journey right here on the Inspired Muslim. The Qur'an is not just a book, it's a living miracle. For Muslims, it's the heartbeat of faith, the ultimate guide in every situation of life, and the final word of Allah to humanity. The word Qur'an comes from the Arabic qara, meaning to read or to recite. That already tells us something very special. The Qur'an was meant to be spoken, recited, and carried in the hearts of believers, not just locked away on a shelf. Think of it this way. Before the Qur'an, Allah had sent down other scriptures, the Torah to Prophet Musa, Moses, the Zabur, Psalms, to Prophet Dawood, David, and the Injil, Gospel, to Prophet Isa, Jesus. Peace be upon them all. But with time, those scriptures were changed, altered, or lost. Humanity still needed guidance, and that's where the Qur'an steps in. It is the final revelation, a message that corrects, completes, and seals everything that came before. What makes the Qur'an even more remarkable is how universal it is. It's not just for the Arabs of the 7th century. It's for every nation, every culture, every language, and every generation until the day of judgment. Whether someone is a scholar, a farmer, a student, or even someone who can't read at all, the Qur'an speaks to every heart. And here's something else. It's completely unchanged since it was revealed over 400 years ago. No other book on earth has been preserved so perfectly, word for word, letter for letter, sound for sound. It's memorized by millions, printed in every corner of the world, and recited in the same rhythm and tone, exactly as the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, himself recited it. So when we talk about the Qur'an, we're not just talking about a scripture. We're talking about a miracle that you can still hear, read, and experience today. 2. Revelation begins. The first light. On the Inspired Muslim, we love to go deep into the stories that shaped our faith, and there's no story more powerful than how the Qur'an first came to this world. People are busy chasing wealth, idols, and status. Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, feels a heavy weight in his heart. He sees injustice everywhere. Girls being buried alive, the poor being oppressed, and people forgetting Allah. His soul longs for something pure, something higher, That's why he often retreats to a quiet place, a cave on the mountain of light called Hira. There, away from the noise of the city, he spends nights in deep reflection, praying and searching for truth. Then, on one extraordinary night in Ramadan, the world changes forever. As the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, is alone in the cave, a powerful presence fills the space. It is Angel Gabriel, the same angel who came to the prophets before him. Jibril commands him, Iqra, recite. The Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, trembling, replies that he cannot recite. He isn't a man of reading or writing. But Jibril embraces him again and repeats, Iqra. Finally the words pour forth, and the very first verses of the Qur'an are revealed. Recite in the name of your Lord who created man from a clot. Recite, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man what he did not know. Surah Al-Alaq 96:1-5. These were not just words. They were light breaking through centuries of darkness. The Qur'an had begun its journey into the world. The Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, rushes home, shaken and afraid. His heart is racing, and he tells his beloved wife, Khadija, R.A., cover me, cover me. She comforts him, reminds him of his goodness, and reassures him that Allah would never abandon a man who helps the poor, cares for family, and stands for truth. Khadija then takes him to her cousin, Waraka ibn Nawfal, a Christian scholar. Waraka listens and says, This is the same angel that came to Moses. You, O Muhammad, have been chosen as the prophet of this nation. From that moment on, the Qur'an begins to descend piece by piece, guiding, healing, and transforming humanity. 3. The gradual revelation, 23 years of light. One of the most amazing things about the Qur'an is that it wasn't revealed all at once like a single book dropping from the sky. Instead, it came down gradually, verse by verse, chapter by chapter, over the span of 23 years. This made the Qur'an not just a book, but a living guidance that spoke directly to the struggles, questions, and challenges of real people at real moments. The revelation began in Makkah. For the first 13 years, the verses focused on the most important foundation, faith. Allah was teaching the people about His oneness, His mercy, the reality of the hereafter, and the stories of past prophets who stood firm against corruption. These early chapters are filled with short, powerful verses, like arrows of truth piercing the hearts of the arrogant. They also gave comfort to the oppressed Muslims who were being tortured for believing. Imagine being one of the early believers, hearing Surah Al-Fil about how Allah destroyed the army of the elephant, or Surah Al-Kawthar, a reminder of Allah's endless blessings. It gave hope, strength, and courage. Then came the Medinan period, the next 10 years after the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, and his followers migrated to Medina. Now the Qur'an began to shape not just individuals, but a whole society. These verses were longer, detailed, and focused on building a community based on justice, compassion, and order. Here we find the laws about prayer, fasting, charity, family life, trade, inheritance, war, peace treaties, and more. The Qur'an became the constitution of the new Muslim society. But here's the beauty of the gradual revelation. Every time a new situation happened, a verse came down. When battles took place, the Qur'an guided Muslims on how to fight with honor. When hypocrites spread lies, the Qur'an exposed them. When questions arose about food, family, or faith, the answers were revealed directly from Allah. Even in moments of deep sadness, the Qur'an brought comfort. For example, after the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, lost his beloved uncle Abu Talib and his wife Khadija, Allah revealed Surah Ad-Duha. Your Lord has not abandoned you, nor has he forgotten, and the hereafter will be better for you than the present, and your Lord will surely give you, and you will be satisfied. 93:3-5. It was like Allah himself was comforting his messenger, so the Qur'an wasn't just theory, it was life itself, unfolding alongside the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, and his companions. And through this 23-year journey, the Qur'an became more than a scripture. It became a living miracle, guiding a people from ignorance to faith, from weakness to strength, from oppression to leadership. 4. Memorization recording, protecting the divine words. One of the most mind-blowing things about the Qur'an is how perfectly it was preserved from the very beginning. Remember, the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, himself could not read or write. That was no accident. It showed the world that this message was directly from Allah, not from human effort or study. But that also meant the Qur'an had to be protected in another way, through hearts and memories. From the moment verses were revealed, the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, would recite them out loud, and his companions would memorize them instantly. These weren't just ordinary recitations. The Qur'an had a rhythm, a beauty, a power that touched the soul. Even enemies of Islam who hated the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, were secretly drawn to the Qur'an at night, sneaking close just to hear its mesmerizing words. The Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, had dedicated scribes who would also write down the verses on whatever materials were available at the time, pieces of leather, palm leaves, flat stones, even bones. One of the most trusted scribes was Zayd ibn Thabit, R.A., a young man chosen because of his sharp memory and careful attention. Every time a revelation came, the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, would tell the scribes exactly where to place it, in which chapter, after which verse. So it wasn't random. The order we have today is the order given by Allah through his messenger, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. Here's something even more special. Every year during Ramadan, the angel Gabriel, would come to the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, and review the Qur'an with him. Imagine that, Jibril himself checking every word, every verse, ensuring it was exactly as Allah intended. In the final year of the Prophet's life, Jibril reviewed it with him twice, a sign that the message was now complete. The companions didn't just memorize the Qur'an for themselves, they taught it to others. Many of them became hufaz, guardians of the Qur'an, people who carried the entire Qur'an in their memory. This tradition never stopped. Even today, over 1,400 years later, there are millions of hufaz around the world, young and old, who can recite every word from beginning to end without looking at a single page. No other book in history has been preserved in this way. So when we say the Qur'an is unchanged, it's not just because of ink on paper. It's because of living hearts that never let go of Allah's words. 5. Compilation. After the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, the first Mushaf. When the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, returned to his Lord in the year 632 CE, the Qur'an was fully revealed and memorized by many of his companions. But here's the challenge. The Qur'an was mostly preserved in hearts and on scattered materials, like bones, palm leaves, and parchments. There wasn't yet a single bound copy. During the Prophet's lifetime, this wasn't a major issue because he was alive to guide the believers, and many companions could recite the Qur'an word for word. But shortly after his death, something happened that shook the Muslim community. In the Battle of Yamama, many Muslims fought bravely to defend Islam, and among those who were martyred were dozens of Hufaz, men who had memorized the Qur'an completely. This alarmed the companions. What if more battles came? What if more Hufaz were lost? Would parts of the Qur'an risk being forgotten? It was then that Umar ibn al-Khattab, ERA, the second Caliph to be, approached Abu Bakr, ERA, the first Caliph and closest companion of the Prophet. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. Umar said, "We must compile the Qur'an into one book, so it is never lost." At first Abu Bakr hesitated. He said, "How can we do something the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, himself did not do?" But Umar reminded him that this was not adding to the Qur'an, it was protecting it. After realizing the importance, Abu Bakr agreed, and the great task of compiling the Qur'an began. Who was chosen to lead this mission? None other than Zayd ibn Thabit, R.A., the young scribe who had written down revelations directly from the Prophet. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. Zayd described this task as heavier than moving a mountain because it was such an enormous responsibility. Zayd and his team carefully gathered every written piece of Qur'an and cross-checked it with the memorization of the Hufaz. Nothing was accepted unless two reliable witnesses confirmed that it was revealed by the Prophet. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. Piece by piece, verse by verse, the Qur'an was compiled into one complete manuscript known as the Mushaf. This first Mushaf was kept safe with Abu Bakr during his lifetime, then passed to Umar ibn al-Khattab after him, and later entrusted to Hafsa, R.A., one of the wives of the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, who became the guardian of this precious copy. This was a turning point in history. The Qur'an was no longer scattered. It was preserved as one complete book, ensuring that Allah's final revelation would never be lost, altered, or changed. 6. Standardization under Caliph Uthman, R.A., one Qur'an for all. As Islam spread rapidly beyond Arabia to Persia, Syria, Africa, and beyond, people from different tribes and regions were entering Islam. And here's where a problem began. The Arabic language had many dialects, and Muslims in faraway lands sometimes recited the Qur'an differently, not in meaning, but in pronunciation and style. In cities like Kufa and Basra, Muslims started debating, "My recitation is right, yours is wrong." Imagine the danger of that. If not handled quickly, the unity of the Qur'an could be at risk. This is when the third Caliph, Uthman ibn Affan, R.A., stepped in. Uthman was wise, calm, and deeply respected. He realized the Muslim world needed a standard version of the Qur'an that would unite everyone. So what did he do? He called for the original manuscript that was kept safe with Hafsa, R.A., the wife of the Prophet. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. Then he appointed a team of experts, again led by Zayd ibn Thabit, R.A., to carefully make several official copies from it. Uthman instructed them to write the Qur'an in the Quraysh dialect, the dialect of the Prophet Muhammad. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. Once these copies were ready, Uthman sent them out to all the major Islamic cities, Mecca, Medina, Kufa, Basra, and Damascus. Along with each copy, he sent a skilled reciter who would teach people the exact way the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, had recited it. To avoid confusion, Uthman also ordered that any unofficial or personal copies with variations be set aside or destroyed. Some people might think that was harsh, but it was actually one of the greatest acts of preservation in history. By doing this, Uthman ensured that the Qur'an would remain one, unified, and unchanged for all Muslims everywhere. This standardized version became known as the Uthmani Mushaf. And believe it or not, some of those very manuscripts still exist today in museums and libraries, preserved for over 1,400 years. So when a Muslim in Nigeria, Indonesia, Turkey, or America opens the Qur'an today, it's the same words revealed in the cave of Hira, the same verses recited by the Prophet. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. The same book preserved by Abu Bakr and Uthman, R.A. No edits, no rewrites, just the pure word of Allah. This moment in history proved the truth of Allah's promise. Indeed, it is we who sent down the reminder, and indeed, we will be its guardian. Surah Al-Hijr 15:9. And that promise is still alive today. 7. Features of the Qur'an. What makes it so unique? The Qur'an is unlike any other book on earth. It's not just about its message, it's about its style, structure, language, and impact. Let's break down some of its most amazing features. 1. The language. The Qur'an was revealed in Arabic, but not just everyday Arabic. It came in a style so powerful and so beautiful that even the greatest poets of Arabia were stunned. Remember, the Arabs were masters of poetry at the time. They prided themselves on their words, their rhymes, and their eloquence. But when the Qur'an was recited, they knew instantly this was something beyond human ability. Allah Himself challenged them. Bring just one chapter like it if you can. For over 1,400 years, no one has been able to match its style. 2. The structure. The Qur'an is made up of 114 surahs, chapters, and more than 6,000 ayahs, verses. Some chapters are just a few lines long, like Surah Al-Kawthar, with only 3 verses, while others, like Surah Al-Baqarah, span several pages. But here's the fascinating part. The Qur'an isn't arranged chronologically. It's organized by divine wisdom. Short surahs at the end, longer ones at the beginning, yet all of it flows perfectly. 3. Its themes. The Qur'an covers everything a human being needs. It talks about Tawheed, the oneness of Allah, the stories of past nations, lessons from prophets, the realities of heaven and hell, rules for daily life, and deep reflections on the universe. Sometimes, a single surah might shift from history to law to spiritual reflection, all in a way that ties together seamlessly. 4. Its universality. Even though it was revealed in 7th century Arabia, its teachings are timeless. When it speaks about justice, kindness, patience, family, charity, or honesty, it speaks to all humanity. A farmer in Africa, a student in London, and a business person in Dubai can all find guidance in it. 5. Its recitation. The Qur'an is not just meant to be read silently, it's meant to be recited. That's why its rhythm and sound are so moving. People who don't even understand Arabic often cry when they hear the Qur'an being recited beautifully. The sound itself is part of the miracle. 6. Its preservation. Unlike other scriptures, the Qur'an has never been altered. No versions, no missing chapters, no additions. The same Qur'an revealed to Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, is the Qur'an we hold in our hands today. 7. Its guidance. The Qur'an calls itself Hudan Linas, guidance for mankind. It's not just theory, it's practical. It tells us how to pray, how to deal with money, how to treat our parents, how to handle enemies, and how to build a just society. It's a complete manual for life. 8. Preservation through generations, a living miracle. When Allah promised in the Qur'an, indeed it is we who sent down the reminder, and indeed we will be its guardian. Surah Al-Hijr 15:9. That wasn't just a statement. It became history, reality, and proof. The Qur'an has been preserved for over 1,400 years with absolutely no change. But how did that happen? Let's unpack it. 1. Memorization. Hifz. From the very beginning, Muslims made memorizing the Qur'an a priority. The companions of the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, were living examples of this. Children, adults, men, women, many of them carried the Qur'an in their hearts. This tradition never stopped. Even today, in almost every Muslim community worldwide, you'll find young children, some as young as 7 or 8, who have memorized the entire Qur'an word for word. There's no other book on earth that millions can recite from memory in exactly the same way. 2. Written manuscripts. After the compilation under Abu Bakr and the standardization under Uthman, the Qur'an's text was locked in place. Those manuscripts were copied carefully, generation after generation, ensuring that the same words were passed down. Today, some of those early manuscripts still exist in museums in places like Istanbul, Tashkent, and Cairo, matching exactly with the Qur'an we read now. 3. Global unity. Here's the mind-blowing part. No matter where you go in the world, whether it's a mosque in Nigeria, Indonesia, America, or Saudi Arabia, you'll hear the same Qur'an being recited. Muslims may speak different languages and follow different cultures, but when they open the Qur'an, the words are identical everywhere. 4. Recitation styles. Qira'at. The Qur'an was revealed in different authentic recitation styles, known as qira'at. These are slight variations in pronunciation that were taught by the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, himself to accommodate different Arab tribes. But even with these variations, the message, words, and meaning are exactly the same. This adds richness to the Qur'an while still preserving its unity. 5. Modern printing and technology. In today's world, the preservation has gone even further. The Qur'an is printed in millions of copies every year, translated into countless languages, and available on apps, websites, and audio platforms. Yet the Arabic text itself remains untouched, preserved exactly as it was revealed. So when we hold the Qur'an in our hands, we're not just holding a book. We're holding the same words revealed in the cave of Hira to Prophet Muhammad. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. More than 1,400 years ago. It's a living miracle that continues to shine in every age. 9. Impact of the Qur'an, transforming hearts and nations. The Qur'an isn't just a book to be read. It's a force that changes people. From the moment its words were first heard in Makkah, the Qur'an started transforming lives, turning enemies into believers, the oppressed into leaders, and ordinary people into extraordinary examples of faith. 1. Personal transformation. When people hear the Qur'an, it touches their hearts in ways no other words can. Think about Umar ibn al-Khattab, Ira. He was once a fierce enemy of Islam, even setting out to kill the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. But when he overheard verses of Surah Taha being recited, his heart melted. In that moment, he embraced Islam, later becoming one of the greatest leaders in history. That's the power of the Qur'an. It reaches into the deepest parts of the soul and awakens something you didn't even know was there. Even today, countless people embrace Islam after simply hearing the Qur'an recited. Some don't even understand Arabic, but the beauty of the sound moves them to tears. others read a translation and realize the wisdom they've been searching for is right there in Allah's words. 2. Shaping a society. The Qur'an didn't just transform individuals, it built a whole community. The people of Arabia were once divided, tribal, and often violent. But through the guidance of the Qur'an, they became a united ummah, brothers and sisters who cared for each other, defended the weak, and stood for justice. This unity became the foundation of Islamic civilization. 3. Influence on law and justice. The Qur'an introduced principles of fairness that were revolutionary for its time and still relevant today. It abolished the killing of infant girls, gave women rights to inheritance, emphasized honesty in trade, and demanded compassion for the poor and needy. It laid down laws not just for rituals, but for building a just society. 4. Inspiration in art and knowledge. The Qur'an also inspired Muslims to seek knowledge and beauty. That's why Islamic civilization produced breathtaking calligraphy, architecture, and scholarship. Mosques were decorated with verses of the Qur'an, universities were built to study it, and science advanced as scholars reflected on verses about the universe. 5. Global reach. Today, the Qur'an is the most widely read, memorized, and recited book in the world. It guides over 1 billion Muslims in every corner of the globe. Whether in a quiet village in Africa or a bustling city in Europe, you'll find people waking up at dawn to recite its verses in prayer. 10. The Qur'an today and forever. The Qur'an's story is unlike any other. It began in the quiet night of Ramadan, revealed to the heart of Prophet Muhammad. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. Through angel Jibreel, preserved perfectly in the hearts of believers, and spread across the world unchanged for more than 1,400 years. But here's the most important thing. The story of the Qur'an is still being written, through me, you, and every Muslim who holds on to it. The Qur'an as guidance today. Life today is full of noise, distractions, stress, and confusion. But the Qur'an remains the ultimate guide, a book of clarity. It tells us how to worship, how to treat others, and how to stay hopeful even when life gets hard. It's not just a book to be placed on a shelf. It's a daily companion, a light in the darkness, a living miracle. Unlike other miracles of the prophets that ended with their time, the Qur'an is the everlasting miracle. Every time it's recited, its beauty stuns listeners. Every time it's studied, it reveals wisdom beyond human imagination. And every time it's memorized by a new heart, it proves again that Allah's promise of preservation is real. Our responsibility. The Qur'an isn't only for scholars or imams. It's for all of us. It's a personal letter from Allah to His servants. Our role is to recite it, reflect on its meanings, and live by its teachings. Whether you're young or old, rich or poor, educated or not, the Qur'an speaks directly to you, forever preserved. No matter how much time passes, the Qur'an will never fade away. Allah Himself promised in Surah Al-Hijr 15:9. Indeed, it is we who sent down the Qur'an, and indeed, we will be its guardian. That means every letter, every verse, every chapter will stay exactly as it was revealed until the end of time. Final note for the inspired Muslim audience. The Qur'an isn't just history, it's our present and our future. It's a guide, a healing, and a source of strength for anyone who turns to it with sincerity. If you ever feel lost, weak, or in need of direction, just open the Qur'an. Its words are timeless, its wisdom endless, and its promise eternal. So, let's not just admire the story of the Qur'an, let's live it. Let's carry its message in our hearts, our actions, and our words, so that we too can be part of this ongoing story of light. And that, my dear brothers and sisters, is the incredible journey of the Qur'an, from its revelation in a cave, to its preservation in the hearts of millions, to its impact that still shapes our lives today. The Qur'an is not just a story of the past, it is the living word of Allah, speaking to us in every age, every place, and every moment of our lives. As the inspired Muslim, I want to leave you with this thought. The Qur'an is waiting for you. It's waiting to be recited in your voice, understood in your heart, and lived through your actions. If you ever feel lost, just remember, Allah has already given you a map. All you need to do is open it. So let's carry the Qur'an with us, not only on our shelves, but in our prayers, in our choices, and in the way we treat others. Because the greatest honor we can have is to live as people of the Qur'an. If this video touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Inspired Muslim for more stories of faith, wisdom, and guidance. And remember, this journey doesn't end here. The Qur'an is a story that lives on through you. Until next time, may Allah keep you close to His book and fill your life with its light.